And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We think the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. And repeat offender, Agent B is on the line. Brian Bartholomew, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to be here again.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it. I think something went a little quiet here. I'm not used to anything being quiet in my world. So every once in a while when that happens, you just look at it and you say, Let me remind you, if you ever have more finance-related questions, I am that consumer advocate looking out for you. While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, it is another beautiful day on Ron Siegel Radio, and we are celebrating having beaten anorexia. I look at this one, and there's a few good things in here. National Corn Fritters Day. Okay, I guess all I can say there. I could go for this one, although it might cause me a little bit of problems. National Personal Chef's Day. I don't know about you. I don't have a personal chef. I might like one, but they probably put me on a diet, so that wouldn't be too happy. So we might have to just stick with one that's, I don't know why this one works out as it is, but because I think this is every day, so I don't know why it would have a singular day. I know Agent B's this way as well. Get to know your customers day. I don't know why they have something special, or that would be on a single day. I mean, isn't that something we do every day?
Every single day. What are we waiting for a day for?
Yeah, I mean, there might be one day a year that we didn't do that, and we might just be home sleeping. But every day is National Get to Know Your Customers Day. Tomorrow, there's some being that we're going to be out tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not a big fan on this one. It's National Tattoo Day. If you're looking to me, that would probably not be the case. But peach ice cream, I don't know about that one. Lottery Day is tomorrow. Yellow Pig Day. There's some weird stuff in here, so I'm going to have to watch it. Saturday, we've got National Caviar Day. Have you ever put caviar on a baked potato?
I've never really had caviar, so I just stay away from it.
Caviar on a baked potato. It is, if you have ever had to try it, it is something to think about. Hey, let's take a look at what the markets are doing today. We do that every day. How do you know whether it's a good time to invest? How do you know whether it is a good time to refinance? Maybe you need to know when is the right time to lock a loan. Well, today the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 126 points as we broadcast this morning. For those of you that are part of our KMET AM 1490 on the ABC network, I know the market's closed and we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know what it did. But as we record this morning, down 122, S&P 500 down 19. The NASDAQ that goes up every day is down 130 right now. Oil down 17 cents a barrel, not a whole lot of move there. U.S. 10-year Treasury down 2.7 on the 2.7 basis points there, so we're at about a 6.0 yield. I'm going to tell you right now, that's going lower. I think it'll be down around somewhere around a half, not too far out. Then we might test those all-time lows. That was about 30 basis points. So it would not surprise me if we test those all-time lows. So hold on for a little bit of a ride there. That's just a prediction, a forecast from your friend here at Ron Siegel Radio. I am not no guarantees. We don't do guarantees on Ron Siegel Radio. Anybody that gives you a guarantee when they talk about the market does not have a clue about what they're talking. So we'll tell you that right out. It's just the way it works. So we may test those all-time lows, which means interest rates are great. I tell all of our private clients right now, if you are looking at buying a house, right, you can try to somewhat time the market. Timing the market is never a great idea. But if you're contemplating buying a house right now, or you're in contract for a house, great agents have an app on their phone. Maybe they've got a couple of apps on their phone that's watching the market on a minute-by-minute basis. And they get these automated alerts from their services telling them when might be a good time to lock in on a rate. So you can actually, because I'm going to share with you the best time, the best rate you want. You don't want the best interest rate when you first go into contract. And you're really not looking to just figure out what the best rate is when you're ready to close the contract. What you'd like to do is have the best rate anytime during that contract. Now, there's no guarantees. There's no way of having 100% certainty, but that's why you're going to a professional lender, is because they are watching the market. They've got a history of the market. That's what they're doing for you. And I'll just submit to you that that's part of the reason why the online lenders are not the best source for you. Strategy will beat rate every single time. That's the same reason I tell you that don't go to the try and buy a house on your own. You need to have a great realtor for that. It's all part of the same process. You don't need a great realtor to find a house that's for sale. Now, there may be some things that come on the market that they know about before it hits the mass media. But what you're really looking for that great realtor for is to make sure that you navigate the process properly, right? From basically the great realtor is going to help you get from contract to close. They're going to know where the negotiations are. They're going to know how to deal with the request for repairs. They're going to know how to deal with the appraisers. They're going to know how to deal with COVID-19 rules that are in place right now. And boy, we have seen many, many professionals, and I should use that in quotes, but there have been many, many professionals who don't seem to understand that there are new rules in place. I just throw that out there for you. Hey, let's take a look at what's going on in the world. This is fascinating because the media is out there talking about President Trump being unhappy with the fact that some of these fake news polls or rigged news polls show him behind. And we talked about why they are rigged. It's not a question mark. It is a fact that they are rigged. They are showing what people want them to show. But the president changed campaign managers. And I heard one of the partisan, quote unquote, newscasters this morning saying that the president is upset with Brad Parscale because he's behind in the polls. Well, the president is what's called a businessman. When you see that you can do something a little bit better one way or another, you make changes, you make adjustments. That's what business people do. Politicians, they just try and do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Can you say that, Mayor Garcetti? Can you say that, Gavin Newsom, our governor? Right? We proved that closing down our economy did not solve the COVID-19 process. But hey, let's try it again and see if we get a different result this time. You're not going to change people's lifestyles. I saw this one that just came across my desk this morning. Not only did our governor close churches, I don't know how he plans on controlling this one, he also banned in-home fellowship meetings. Now, can somebody possibly tell me how the governor can control and ban an in-home fellowship meeting? Are they going to send the fellowship police to my house? Is that what they're going to do? I don't know how that works, but that is something that's the newest on the government controlling you system. I don't get it, but maybe I'm not supposed to get it. That's just the way things roll. News this morning, 1.3 million Americans filed for unemployment aid last week. What the media won't tell you is that 4 million people are not on the continuing claims roster anymore. That's good news as long as they get more people off that continuing claims. That is some good news right there. We've got a lot of good news to share with you because you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Does your home have what buyers are looking for? The extra $600 unemployment, it's ending. What do you need to know? We're going to talk about the mortgage minute, all that and more. You can reach me anytime, our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are we clear? I never know when to jump in there, so I just stay quiet until you call on me.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star, they've got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 164. NASDAQ down 142. S&P 500 down 20.91. 10-year Treasury is down 2 basis points on a yield of 0.609. And the mortgage-backed securities, they are up 19 basis points. Google.com will give you all that information. What they will not tell you is why is all of that happening. That's what you're looking for when you tune in to Ron Siegel Radio. So we've seen that the mortgage-backed securities have been on a nice 3-day rally after declining rather significantly Friday. Initial jobless claims for last week was released, showing 1.3 million individuals who filed for unemployment benefits for the very first time. Slightly higher than the expectations of 1.288 million. Continuing claims improved significantly from 18 million to 17.3 million. But are things really improving? There are also the pandemic unemployment assistance claims that are not captured in the headline, and those totaled 928,000 last week. Continuing pandemic unemployment assistance claims are now above 15 million. Very, very significant number. Total people receiving some type of benefits, about 32 million, which makes you wonder if the unemployment rate is really over 20%. That is the number that some people may be thinking about. Yeah, that's a painful number. Because of this, it doesn't appear that things are making any meaningful improvement when looking at everyone receiving benefits. I have been sharing some of the numbers with folks as far as what these charts look like, as far as the increases in the numbers that are shown. It's just a staggering number, but you can still see, and this is the number that the headlines of what folks are going to share, is that we've been on the proper trajectory, right? And that's a big issue, is what does that trajectory look like on the first-time unemployment claims. I'm going to try and show you, if I can get it to work on my screen here, a chart that gives you an idea, those watching on RonSiegelRadio.tv or our friends on the KMETAM.com app on the TV as well, right? You can see that we went from 1.56 as far as the jobless claims. We've been straight down, and not straight, but it's been a downward trajectory. Last week we had 1,310,000. This week, 1,300,000. California is not leading the way anymore. We've got 128,000 from California that filed first-time unemployment claims. We don't know if they're legal or not. I just wrote that in there for a little bit of an information for you. Yeah. My guys are a little slow on the drum roll over here, but that's some of the numbers there. Hey, this is the big story, though, because I know that you have never, ever seen this before, because it has never happened before. So we have got today, for the first time, 30-year fixed rate loan. 30-year fixed rate loan. We're using the Freddie Mac number that just came out this morning. You ready for this one? 2.98. That is on their market survey. Now, that's a purchase loan. It's got to have a high debt loan to value, right? So or a low loan to value. So that it's going to be high FICO scores. So it's a baseline rate. You have to pay 7/10 to get it. But 2.98 on a 30-year fixed rate loan. We have never had that before. Last year, this same week, 3.81%. You had to pay 6/10 to get it. But think about that. When we were at 3.81, who would have thought that we'd almost be a full percentage point cheaper a year later, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, interest rates are going to continue to drop. So we're watching that. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990. So this morning, our repeat offender, Agent B, is on the line with us, or on the stream with us. Brian Bartholomew is in the house. How you doing there, sir?
I'm doing great. Just, listening to all that information. I mean, that's why my buyers are calling me like crazy, because the rates just keep going. So
Yeah,
it's
it's pretty amazing how they continue to drop. Who knows where the bottom's going to be?
I have no idea. But even with low inventory, I mean, you still just have, like we were talking earlier, so many offers on properties right now because there's so many buyers just coming out of the woodwork because of that rate.
So let's chat about a little bit, because one of the things that you mentioned when we were chatting before we went live is, and it's something that I'm a big proponent of, is you've got to have somebody that's got a heart of a teacher, understands what the market is doing, where the markets are heading, and is giving the guidance out to help the consumer be successful. Yeah, we were talking about this before we went live. How many people you're getting offers from, or you're seeing offers come in from agents, and we're not going to give out names of who these numbskulls are, but they don't follow the rules that are set to protect people from COVID guidance. They don't follow the rules of what the showing rules are. How do you get around that? As a consumer, how do I know that I'm dealing with somebody that's an ethical and professional when it comes to this, or they're just trying to make a quick buck?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest issue, isn't it? It's the same with real estate as it is with lending. It's, I mean, you get stuck with people that sometimes you're referred to, but that's your first line, I think, of defense, is finding someone maybe that's referred to you that has done a good job for somebody else, not just, hey, my cousin's a realtor, you should try him. It's like, well, has your cousin ever sold a house or helped someone buy a house before, and trying to find somebody through your network is always the number one place to go to. I mean, because people will get, I've got lots of reviews on Zillow and Yelp and everywhere else, but are you looking for a restaurant on Yelp, or are you looking for a realtor on Yelp? So really, how can you trust it? I think probably 90% of my business now is referrals, and I get calls every day from people, saying my friend's going to call you, or can you help me with this? I heard you help this person, and then at that point, like you said, you have to have the right heart and you have to have the right knowledge, and it's really about just servicing that person as well as possible.
As a consumer advocate, that's one of the big issues that I'm always looking at, or fascinates me, I guess. Because you're here in North Orange County. We've got a median home price, North Orange County. I looked it up on the real estate report cards that we do. Somewhere around $820,000. And people are going online to find a real estate professional that may or may not, or they're going to their brother's cousin's first wife.
Correct.
Or something.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're thinking just because that person is going to kick back a few bucks, that might be the right answer for your largest purchase in your family's life. I wonder how that works, right?
Well, I mean, or I have so many people that walk into my listings that just want to use the listing agent because they think it's going to be a better deal for them. And I always tell them, look, I don't mind double ending a deal. Nobody does. But, when I'm representing the seller, I'm representing them first, trying to get them the most money. So it's like, if they come in, hey, maybe you represent me, you can get me a good deal. It's like, that's probably not going to happen. You want to have your own agent on your side. Like I said, I love to double end a deal. It doesn't kill me to do it, but if you don't have someone that's your advocate and not just a mediary between you and that seller, it's not going to help you.
So one of the things that I like just chatting about here is educating folks, because you and I will talk about things that are very common to us. What does it mean to double end a deal?
Double end means if I have the listing, and like I said, a buyer comes straight to me and says, can you represent me as well? And so that means that I'm going to get potentially double commission because I'm representing both sides. But when I work with buyers, we sit down for about an hour and a half, and we go through a whole listing presentation or a whole buyer's presentation, and I educate them on everything from what does the purchase agreement look like to what does it mean to have a dual agency or a double ending type of thing, and how it's a disadvantage for them to do that, and how they want someone in their corner, like I say, who's more of an advocate and not a mediator that's just kind of passing paper back and forth, and hoping not to get sued. So
yeah, I love that response, because it's probably one of the more honest responses. I get other people that have that same kind of a commentary, but But when I hear people that say, well, you know, you can just go to the listing agent and get a better deal because there's only one person. Well, the contract is the contract.
Yeah.
Right. And you're talking about an $800,000 purchase or more or less, whatever the number is, doesn't matter. It's your castle. You know, whether it's a $200,000 castle or a $200 million castle, it's yours. And that's the significant number. And you want somebody that is working exclusively on your benefit. Right. And the idea, yeah, agents will like the idea of getting both sides of the commission. But the honest ones, like you just said, Brian, is that you need somebody looking out for just you. And that's a great response. That's why we like having people like Brian on the broadcast, is because he's bringing us really what the truth is and the real numbers behind the scenes and kind of pulling back the onion peel, so to speak, to see what's going on there. You're not really getting a deal by using that listing agent. In fact, it may be costing you extra money. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, does your home have what buyers are looking for? The extra $600 unemployment is ending. What you need to know, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. The replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564, SLT Home Digest 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Does your home have what buyers are looking for? There's great opportunity for today's homeowners to sell their houses and make a move, yet due to the impact of the ongoing health crisis, some sellers are taking their time coming back to the market. According to Javier Vivas, Director of Economic Research at Realtor.com, I quote, sellers continue returning to the market at a cautious pace, and further improvement could be constrained by lingering coronavirus concerns, economic uncertainty, and civil unrest, unquote. For homeowners who need a little nudge of motivation to get back in the game, it's good to know that buyers are ready to purchase this season. After spending several months at home and reevaluating what they truly want and need in their space, buyers are ready and they're in the market now. Lawrence Yoon, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, explains, I quote, a number of potential buyers noted stalled plans due to the pandemic, and that has led to more urgency and a pent-up demand to buy. After being home for months on end in a home that already wanted to leave, buyers are reminded how much their current home may lack certain desired features or amenities. The latest market recovery survey from the National Association of Realtors shared some of the features and amenities buyers are looking for, especially since the health crisis has shifted many buyer priorities. The most common home features cited as increasingly important are home offices and space to accommodate family members new to the residence. I've got a graph on our screen right now showing what the families are looking for in a COVID-19 environment. And obviously 24% are saying home office. That's the biggest. More space to accommodate family, an older adult, a relative, maybe a baby. We knew that. We said that like 3 months ago when we were locked up in our houses, that the end of the year might be baby season this time. So just a comment from your friends at Ron Siegel Radio. So 15% want more space, 13% want larger house for more personal space, 11% a yard for growing fruits and vegetables. I don't know about that part of it. And there's a lot of others at the 8% range. Survey results also show that among buyers who indicate they would now like to live in a different area due to COVID-19, 47% have an interest in purchasing in the suburbs, 39% cite rural areas, and 25% indicate a desire to be in small towns. As we can see, buyers are eager to find a new home, but there's a big challenge in the market. I bet Agent B will agree with this one, a lack of homes available to purchase. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, explained the Realtor.com June housing trends report showed that buyers still outnumber sellers, which is causing a gap in time in the time on market to shrink, prices to grow at a faster pace than pre-COVID, and the number of homes available for sale to decrease by more than last month. In essence, homes are picking up speed and buyers are purchasing them at a faster rate than they're coming to the market. He'll continue, the housing market has plenty of buyers who would benefit from a few more sellers. If the virus can be contained and home prices continue to grow, this may help bring sellers back to the market. The bottom line, if you're considering selling and your current house has some of the features today's buyers are looking for, let's chat. As you know, I don't sell real estate. I help you put the strategy together and help you with a financing structure, and then put you in touch with great agents in your area, like our friend Agent B, who's on the line with us right now. So Brian, are you finding that out right now that people are looking for these other types of these new different variables in their products, in their properties?
Absolutely. I've got the last listing. One of the last listings I had was a huge deal because it had a small home office for possible distance learning. And then another one I have right now has a little granny flat in the back or an ADU in the back, so they can bring, because people are on an accessory dwelling unit. It's a secondary unit in the back, and so because they're concerned about putting their mother-in-law into a nursing facility because of COVID and those type of things, so they'd rather have her at home with them. So I'm hearing that all the time, and you're right. I mean, I think I put in my newsletter out yesterday, and I said we're at the lowest inventory level since 2004.
Wow.
So I mean, in Orange County, it's incredible how low the inventory is right now, and how the buyers are really outpacing it. And like I said, I got the last two I closed a week ago. One had 22 offers on it, the other had 15 offers on it. I just went into escrow this week with one at 15 offers on it. And so it's just, I mean, it's wild.
Explain to me why you're getting so many offers on properties. Are you pricing them so aggressively that that's what's happening, or what's the reason why you're seeing so many offers on your listings?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, it's a couple factors. I mean, definitely pricing, the seller's listening to where the pricing should be, but it's also prepping the property. I mean, we do take some time, unless someone calls me and says, I want to list my house this week, we ask them to at least give us a couple weeks to come in with a stager, see the house. We might use their furniture, we might use different furniture, it's professional photography, it's video, it's the 3D walkthrough. And it's the way you market really and merchandise the property to someone. It's just like going into a grocery store, and if the display stinks, you're not buying something from there. You'll go to the next one, the competitor. And it's the same thing with the houses. And they just talked about this the other day in my market report too. They talk about the Chip and Joanna Gaines effect. And they're the ones that are doing the Fixer Upper show in Waco, Texas, how now buyers want to walk into a property that even if it isn't completely decked out, they want to at least appear that way. It's merchandise that way. It looks inviting. It looks like it's done. It doesn't look beat up. You do some touch-up paint here and there. And even if it's like this house I have on the market right now is 1926 house, even if it's a lot of original, we've really staged around that to where people will come in and be like, man, this looks amazing. Or if you took all that out, people will come in and go, this needs a lot of work. So how do you present the property? It's really a lot of it.
Property. It's just that you've put it on a different kind of a platter.
Absolutely. You have to do it. And everything around that platter has to be amazing. So it's like
what happens when you get all these offers? Do they end up bidding over asking price, or are they all just negotiating somewhere between the starting point and the asking price?
I mean, they could be all over the place. Like I told you, we've had people come in like $100,000 less just trying to fish for a deal, but most of these are coming in anywhere from possibly 5 to 10% above the list price. And then it becomes a game. Really, it's a game at that point, because are we going to appraise at that higher value? And so now we're asking people to remove their appraisal contingencies. And I just had a property appraised for $40,000 less than what we were in escrow for, but the buyer came in with the extra $40,000 because they wanted the house. So
that's an interesting number, because a lot of people don't realize that just because the appraiser comes in with a specific value, that doesn't mean that really doesn't mean anything other than the lender's not going to lend on the contract value. They're going to lend based on whichever's lower, the appraised value or the contract. And you can negotiate.
And you can negotiate, with the seller to try to bring the price down, or the buyer to bring the price up. And there's always ways to bridge that gap on there. But right now in this market, a lot of buyers just want the property, and they have some extra cash on hand, and they'll come in and bridge the gap. So, we'll take it all day.
Okay. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I am a big proponent of having professional guidance for each party, right? Because if you need to have people that understand. I can't tell you how many people I have come up and they tell us that, well, if it doesn't appraise, I can't buy it. Well, the answer is that's not true. You may not want to buy it. You may not want to spend more than what the appraiser believes it's valued at. But the real value of any property is what a willing buyer will pay a willing seller. That's the value of anything.
Correct.
The appraiser just comes in and says, what is the lender's opinion going to be, and what is the collateral worth? And now I'm seeing many times, especially during this COVID event, there are times when we're seeing that we don't even need an appraisal to get a property into contract or into financing, because it comes back saying that the property inspection is waived from the investor standpoint, the lender standpoint.
Yeah, that's right. And you know the appraisal is completely subjective. So you could get an appraisal that's not good, and the seller could challenge it and bring in, try to get a second appraisal on it. They may come in differently. I mean, it's apples and oranges really, even on the same property sometimes. It's pretty wild.
And again, the reason that you need to have that professional guidance, because you wouldn't know the as a seller, if the appraisal comes in low, if no one's telling you as a seller that you can go out and get your own independent appraisal, how would you ever know that?
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about $45,000 that Brian was just talking about.
Yeah.
Is it worth spending $500, $600, $700 for an appraisal to see if we've got concurrence?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's all about advice, and that's what gives you success. It's really knowledge, and that's what you need.
Absolutely. And again, I share this all the time. That's why we do the broadcast. I can tell you right now, we love the extra business. That's what we do things for. But the broadcast is not because we don't have more business than we can actually handle right now, and we're still looking for more. But we do the broadcast because we want to help educate the community as to what's going on in the marketplace, so you can have a better outcome with whatever you're doing. That's why we bring on experienced realtors. We bring on family lawyers, estate planning attorneys, CPAs, insurance people, all for the education of it. And we say simply, stay with us. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, the extra $600 unemployment probably going to end at the end of the month. What you need to know. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
home and finance show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? The extra $600 unemployment is ending. What you need to know, super unemployment, the slightly tongue-in-cheek phrase for the enhanced unemployment benefits contained in the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, that's the CARES Act, will end on July 31st. The act temporarily expanded both access to unemployment and the amount included in every check. This was one of the law's largest sources of aid for individual households, alongside the $1,200 check issued to each adult, as well as forbearance on student loan collection. Here's what the end of the CARES Act unemployment aid means. With unemployment formally at 11.1%, down from about 14% in earlier June, according to the Labor Department, expanded unemployment benefits have become one of the most important sources of support for households during the pandemic. Among others, the CARES Act made two critical changes to unemployment benefits. Weekly benefits for all recipients were increased by $600 a week. This on top of whatever an individual receives from his or her state's standard unemployment insurance. Eligibility was expanded beyond former W-2 workers, allowing individuals such as contractors, small business owners, and the self-employed to qualify for aid. This ends on July 31st unless Congress extends it. Personally, I don't believe that they will, but we will see. Everyone who receives unemployment will immediately lose the additional money authorized by the CARES Act. This means the benefit will decrease by $600 per recipient across the country. The practical effects of this will vary. Ordinarily, unemployment benefits are defined on a state-by-state basis, creating a patchwork system of more than 50 different schemes. As of 2019, the average unemployment nationwide was $380 per week, with states ranging as low as Arizona's $240 a week payments and as high as Massachusetts, holy cow, $823 a week in benefits in Massachusetts. Workers in places like Alabama, $275, Mississippi, $235. Losing expanded unemployment will mean considerably more than residents of more generous states. Eligibility will not immediately change. Expanded unemployment also opened the doors to people who could not ordinarily collect benefits. Why is the expanded unemployment benefit ending? Well, Congress first passed the CARES Act. Many economists criticized it for helping workers primarily through the unemployment system. They argued that Congress needed to help people by keeping their job rather than planning for mass unemployment. By keeping the worker-employer relationship alive, the government could help small businesses retain talent and institutional knowledge, which would in turn make it cheaper and faster to reopen once the quarantine's lifted. Didn't quite work out as well as they wanted, because now people don't want to go back to work. Now that they had some time to go back to work, now it looks like we may be shutting things down again. We'll see what happens. But it may have some detrimental effect on people. Bottom line, expanded unemployment is scheduled to end on July 31st. Whether that'll change depends in part on how Washington weighs the competing priorities of stabilizing household finances and encouraging people to go back to work. I think that they ought to give people a benefit for going back to work. Instead of just saying, we're going to give you a benefit to stay home, how about a benefit to go back to work? That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. We are chatting. Brian Bartholomew is our guest today, trying to educate people, giving people the best information we know we can share about buying that new house, about finding new property. So, Brian, are you finding people that are wanting to, you're in North Orange County, so I'm wondering, we had a lot of, especially millennials, trying to move over toward the Platinum Triangle area or down off of Jamboree, where you had the multi-level properties. People could go to work, not have to drive. They could just walk to work, and there was shopping, and everything was right there. Same thing in Platinum Triangle. They had all the working below and multi-unit housing above. Are you finding people are wanting to get away from that and get back to having a little bit of a yard and more property?
Well, yeah, definitely as they go further in their relationships and they have kids or whatever else, they definitely want to have an area that they can call their own, especially with everything going on now. I mean, it's not like you can just, you never know what's going to happen, like you said, with the governor or the county or anything else. And it could be now they're in this little tight space and they can't just walk out and go to the restaurant. It's like they want to have a space where they can relax and spend their time. And we just put a pool in a couple of years ago, and thank God we got that thing, because if not, I would have killed somebody in my house.
And that is recorded, so we just, if anybody,
That's right. Erase it.
But that's a big issue, because a lot of folks don't think about that part of it. Is when you're renting, you don't have that luxury of saying, something, we want a pool, we're going to go put it in our property.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. And like we were talking on an earlier segment about rates and everything else. If you have a little bit of money for a down payment, man, you buy that loan right now and go get a house, because it's yours. You can change it up. I have a client that I just talked to yesterday. They're talking about maybe expanding onto their house because they have maybe another family member going to be living with them, and they need room for an office because the wife's going to be working from home. And so they have that option to do it. They're not stuck in a box. So it's definitely, homeownership is the way to go at some point. If you can do it, it's definitely the way to go.
And there's a lot of question marks right now. I know I've got several folks in our family who used to work in some of these big office suites or office for companies that had multiple people, numerous people in these large offices. They've been moved to home office or telecommuting. And some of the companies now are basically saying, we're not going to bring back the people into the big office. And they're going to cut that overhead down. Yeah. Right? So you need a different property that, just like the report that we had in the real-time real estate, that people are looking for different amenities in their house.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I talked to a client of mine, or friends of ours, that he's a lawyer in LA, and they've got like 100,000 square feet of office space, and they're thinking about going down to like 30 or 20,000 and just having people, same thing, just work from home. They can do all the files and everything else and whatever they need. That's what's happening. So you're going to see obviously commercial real estate impacted for sure, but definitely people buying a house are coming in, and where's the space for, like you said, where's the space for my kids in the fall to do distance learning, because they're probably going to be there part of the time. Where's the space for me to be able to be on the phone, because I'm on this, and my wife is across the kitchen in our little office space on her headset, and I can hear them going, "Is that your husband? He's so loud." Because I'm talking to clients. This is my personality. I get excited, and she's like, "You got to stop." So now I've got to come in this little space. You can probably hear the echo in here, but it's just, I've got to get out, because if not, I'm driving everybody crazy. Because I'm just constantly on the phone.
And that's the whole idea, right? I mean, we want to be out on the phones. We need to be talking to people. We need to be educating folks, because, I had this conversation with somebody just the other day, Brian. I said, we're really not salespeople. I mean, they might call it a salesperson,
sure,
but we really like the idea more of being educators than anything else, right?
Yeah.
You're teaching people about real estate.
We're their entire support team here when they want to make the biggest decision of their life. It's like we're the ones that are there for them and make sure that we are obligated to do what we need to do and do the best job. Because my deals, I tell people all the time, look, I like to close deals, but it's more about the relationships for me and building relationships over long term, because those people will keep coming back to me for whatever they need. And we've talked in previous shows about how I've got a digital Rolodex that's, this big, and they can call me for anything they need, and I can refer them to those people too and help them out, whatever they want. So.
And that's the beauty of the people that are in real estate for the long term, as opposed to just the guy that got in there because it might look like it's appealing for the minute.
It's a hot
and
market.
mortgage as well. The exact thing is that we want people to be calling us for everything. If you need a landscape contractor, call. If you need a plumber, call. You need an electrical engineer. You need a geological survey. We've had people call for those as well. And I don't know, I can't even spell geological survey. No less know what it is.
Well, I tell people, if you don't know your realtor's last name, that's not your realtor. Because I have people all the time calling me on the phone about listings and saying, "Oh, should I have my realtor call?" I say, "Yeah, what's his name?" It's Jennifer something. I'm like, you need a better relationship with your realtor. It's like none of my clients would call and not know my first and last name. We're on that level. You know,
It's
we're
more than
friends.
just agent, it's more than just Agent B.
Yeah, well, or at least it might say Agent B, and people might know that too.
There you go. And that's part of the idea of marketing right there. And as always, we
Absolutely.
ask
Yeah.
set that first radio reset button to come back here and join us every day on Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to John and Sean, who are engineering us today. And a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.